call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. This is our first full meeting of our new council, so we're going to take our time this evening and do things slowly because it's a new process for a lot of us, so bear with us as we go. I would ask for a motion for the adoption of the minutes from on our October 24th meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held at City Hall on October 24th, 2022, and the inaugural meeting held at City Hall on November 1st, 2022, be adopted as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Espy, second by Councillor Porter. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We have a couple of delegations. Oh no, sorry. We're going to do something very important right now. We're going to swear in our youth member of council this evening. So our new youth member is Paige McCullough. So Paige, we're going to go to that podium over there, okay? I, Paige McCullough, do solemnly swear
I, Paige McCullough, do solemnly swear
that I will diligently execute the position of youth member of council,
that I will diligently execute the position of youth counselor,
and I will,
and I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
uphold, promote,
promote,
and support the ideas, activities, and constitution of the council of the city
of the council of the city
of Portage la Prairie.
of Portage la Prairie.
I will serve as a positive role model,
I will serve as a positive role model,
leader and voice
for the student population,
and will represent the city
of
Portage la Prairie
as
well as I possibly can.
can.
Congratulations. Okay, we do have a couple of delegations in house this evening. The first one is Kim Wichtel presenting for us on a wheelchair accessible swing. So Kim, if you want to go to the podium and state your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Kim Wichtel. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations and
Kim?
welcome to everybody.
Sorry, could you just make that mic's a little iffy, so if you could just make sure you're close to it. Yeah,
Like that? Is that better?
thank you.
Yeah, congratulations and welcome to the Council of Portage. My idea was for the We Go Swing for people that are in a wheelchair, for them to be able to, play at the park, I guess you could say. There's a individual that I see every day that gets picked up on 8th Street, and she's in a wheelchair, and I thought, hey, that would be really cool if her and her parents could go and play on a swing, and maybe even if we can develop even more into a park that can help other individuals that have special needs. When I watched the video on this, I was really excited and I was wanting one myself, but so I'm trying to get some funds, raise some funds through different types of, just anything that we can try to be able to pay for this to get it into our community at the Island Park. So, yeah, that's basically what my idea and my goal is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Does anyone on council have any questions or comments? You want to stay up there, Kim, maybe, in case yeah.
I'm all new to this.
I mean, Miss Wichtels.
Hi, thanks for coming tonight. I'm just wondering if you can tell me if you have an approximate cost for the swing?
You know what? I have an estimate. We are looking into some other ones too. but there is apparently some grants that we can get and that. And the estimate, I hope I printed it off. Sorry, I'm really nervous.
It's okay.
No, I don't think I printed it off before I came, I'm sorry. I thought I had it in here. But the one estimate that I got from them was to set it up and bring the swing out. There is some other things that they have to do. Would be about $95,000. So I didn't think it would be that much, but I mean, it's worth it if the kids have a lot of fun with it. So, you know, if we can raise funds, I know the city is doing a lot of different fundraisers for different things for our community. So I figured, why not? Let's try to do this for our community. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Espy?
I have a few questions through your worship to the presenter. Have you established a relationship with the Portage Parks Committee for this project yet?
I have actually been in contact with Melissa and you. We haven't formally met with anything or anything like that. This is just in the starting planning stages. So yeah, I need the expertise of everybody else to figure out where we need to go, because of course this is all new to me, so I don't really know what's available to us and what we can do and that. So I just had the idea of, hey, let's do it, and now I need to seek all you guys to help me with the steps to get there.
I have another question. Have you ever checked any of the websites on the government websites to see if there's any funding available for this type of
Councillor
project?
Porter? Sorry, can you just pull the mic
Oh,
closer to
sorry.
you?
Have you checked into any of the government websites on grants for these kinds of projects?
I have been told by a few people there are some grants. Like I said, this is just starting, so I didn't really know exactly where
Right.
to go yet. And that's why I need some help to get the direction on where we can start going. And I figured that, you know, the sooner the better, and we can get it installed. So hopefully that's what.
I'm pretty sure there are places out there that, will also help with grants or,
Yeah.
design, that kind of thing.
I have been in a couple of, I've talked to a couple of businesses, and I said to them, hey, you know what, I'm going to be looking at seeing if I can get this for our community and have it at the island. And I said, are you guys on board? And each one of that person I've talked to, they said, yep, we're on board. So we have support in some of the businesses. I've only talked to a few right now, so
Great.
Excellent. Thank you.
Anyone else? So thank you, Ms. Wichtel, for coming out. We'll take it back to council and maybe ask administration to reach out to you, maybe give you some assistance on some of those things.
okay.
I do know we have opportunities with the city to be able to take donations, et cetera, through our city, so that might help. But thank you for coming out.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So our next delegation is from our Portage la Prairie Regional Library. We have Ms. Kendall, our Director of Libraries, here to present. Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Well, my name is Jen Kendall.
The floor is yours.
Oh, great. So, hi, everybody. It's great to see such a big crowd. I didn't realize it was such a, oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Didn't realize this was quite a hot spot on Monday evenings, but maybe I'll come to more meetings now. Congratulations to all of you. I'm excited to see what we can all accomplish over the next few years here in Portage. So let's just jump in. So a little history. There's been a library in some form for over 100 years in Portage la Prairie. The official library was founded by bylaw in 1969.
Jen, Can you just move closer to the mic? Sorry, it's a
Sorry.
touchy mic. Yeah. thanks.
So we moved to our current location in 1999, and in 2004 we joined the RM to create a regional library. So we've done some upgrades since I started in April. Thank you, Kathy. I think that's better, yeah. So since I started in April of 2021, we've created several projects to improve the safety, accessibility, and use of the library space. The most obvious was, if you can see those racks there, were completely obscuring the washroom entrance. And that is the same number of lights on in both photos, believe it or not. So we were able to move those racks to a different section of the library, spread out the quiet study space, and the city was able to upgrade our lighting to the new LEDs that you see in the photo on the right. We also moved our primary area to the front of the library, which has received a lot of praise, and we had a lot of fun this past weekend decorating it for the holidays. You should stop in and see it. It's pretty fun. And we also created this reading section for adults with a little fireplace. And we've had a lot of positive feedback about the changes that we've made over the past few years. Let's see. We do have people coming back in greater numbers. This is compared to a 3-year average, because we did want to take into account the pre-COVID numbers. We usually see a little dip in the winter, but people are happy to come back to the library, and they're excited to see the changes that they've heard about. And as you can see, we've increased our membership, and we're on track to have our highest membership ever. We're going to pass 8,000 members if we haven't already. And this is a direct result of the outreach that myself and the board have done with the Portage la Prairie School District, and also with several community organizations around town, especially like PCRC and a few others, working with various groups, just to make sure we have people utilizing the library to its fullest potential. Our circulation is over 10,000 items a month, 71% of which are physical items. We did add quite a few new items that have been very popular, including our tech library with the laptops and the radon screeners, which are a new one, and you've probably heard about. We have 8 of those, and there are 20 holds still on them. So we've been getting a lot of calls from outside of the region as well on that. So I'm pretty pleased with how that's turned out. Our free programs are a major draw. We have some activities. We do try to protect our floors best we can, because kids tend to not respect cleaning bills very much, which is fine. This is the lineup for our recent trick-or-treat tour. That's right before we opened the doors, and it was all the way down the side of the building there. We've also brought back some of the programs that we had pre-COVID for adults, our movie nights, our book clubs, knitting to great success. And we do a teen lounge on Wednesday nights to give teens a safe space to hang out in unsupervised. They can just play the Xbox and do whatever. They've been very respectful of the space and the staff, and it's been really good to see. And I did include a brief list of the partnerships that we've fostered and the events we've worked on over the past year and a half to advocate for the library, make sure we're doing as much as we can for the community, and finding out what needs we need to meet that we aren't necessarily meeting. And then next year, we're going to keep doing the same thing and growing the library. We're going to look into increased crisis intervention training for our library staff. We do have some issues from time to time, as all libraries do. We're going to get security cameras, upgrade our computers, and look at improving the layout of the library collection some more. If you've been to the library, our adult fiction is backwards when you walk in, so we're going to make it so it makes sense. We're also looking at expanding our volunteer opportunities and working on recruiting them. I know it's been a challenge for a lot of organizations, and we're not any different. But yeah, if you want to contact me later with any questions, I have included our contact information there to organize the tour of the library. But yeah, thank you for your time. If anyone has any questions for me tonight, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Your Worship, and Jen, welcome. I just think it's been outstanding what the library has done, and a big part of that has been through Jen. And I was privileged, along with Mayor Knox, at the time Councillor Knox, to be on the library board for the past few years and chair the library board, and we have seen a totally different approach. It's reaching out, it's growing, and I just wanted council to know the excellent work that Jen and her staff have been doing. And I know at the time Councillor Knox and I were involved in the hiring, and we certainly have think we made the right decision. So congratulations. I just great things that are going on there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Councillor Massey will continue as a role on the library board, so we're happy to have that.
I'm delighted to hear it.
Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move into public hearings. We have 2 public hearings this evening. The first public hearing is a second and third reading of bylaw 228740, a rezoning for Portage la Prairie Community Revitalization Corp. Councillor Nichols.
So at this point,
Oh, never mind, sorry. See, I'm the first one to make a mistake, so. First, I'm going to ask if there's anyone present to speak in favor of the application. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Mary Lawrence.
Would you like to present anything, or?
So I do have the proposal from the contractor who submitted a bid for the project. So this contractor was the only one to submit a bid. So they were successful. They are based out of Winnipeg, which they have committed to using local trades whenever possible. We know that our local contractors are very busy, and affordable housing projects are kind of a niche market. So this contractor was also has done affordable housing projects before, so we were happy with that. As you can see, there are some drawings later on. So these are more concept. They are not at the point of construction. So keep that in mind for any questions you may have. We do have 5 units in the proposal here, and that could change. So it could go down to 4, it could go up to 6. The rezoning allows us to change the total square footage a little bit, and we know that in this drawing there's some variance that would be needed for construction, so we expect some tweaks to this proposal. So here you'll see 2 1-bedrooms and then 2 bachelors and a 2-bedroom. So we know that affordable housing is needed in our community, and after this project has moved forward a little bit, we have decided, since PCRC has no experience running housing ourselves, we are going to be putting out a request for proposals for another organization to take this project over and run it. We will continue to oversee the build and make sure that there's a successful candidate to take it over. And on that selection committee, we will also have representation from the city and receive input from the city continuously on this project. But we are hopeful that we'll have some good proposals from other organizations and that they'll be able to provide supports to anyone living in these units for whatever they may need, or refer them to other agencies that could support them. And I'm happy to field any questions anyone might have on this.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the project? Do we have any letters in favor? No, thank you. Is there anyone present to speak against the application? come on. Yeah, sorry. Mr. Britton. Please state your name.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Britton. I live right next to the proposed change in rezoning. So it's nice to see what you've come up with there. I think last time we were here in October, we had heard that maybe it could be as high as 2 or 3 stories, or it wouldn't exceed 3 stories. So we had concerns about that. The pictures show a 1-story, which is certainly nicer to have in your backyard and not looking over your fence as compared to a 2nd or a 3rd-story building. Although we're the only people here from our neighborhood, we've talked to some other people like DC Security that has solar panels right up against the property as well. So they had concerns that the property or the building structure may cast shadows on their solar panels. Also, neighbors that couldn't be here either working shift work, just wanting to know a little bit more about what the proposal was. We've been in our house since 1998, and when we bought the house, it was our neighborhood was single family dwellings, and so we were, I guess that's the neighborhood we bought into, and we're hoping to keep it that way. I think just because that's the aesthetic of the neighborhood. So we were also concerned that something that would be built would either be, towering over other old structures. Our house has been there since 1879 or something, one of the original houses in the neighborhood, and just didn't want to change the aesthetic of the neighborhood to include, I guess, big 2 or 3-story structures. Also, already we're at the edge of town where ours is a single family area or zoning, and then right next to us is small industrial. And I was also concerned with, I guess for the sake of anybody that would be moving into something there, that they're facing a gravel road on 10th Street with 2 major industrial buildings kind of across the road, the big pea plant, and it didn't seem like that would be my dream to move into something like that. I'm certainly very supportive of trying to get people into homes, and I'm happy for the work that you're doing. I would, with some upgrades, possibly, paving the road, sidewalks, ditches and stuff, it could be a nicer area. There's still, what you're looking across the street from. It wouldn't be my choice of somewhere to move, but I do realize I have a house over my head, and I'm thankful for that. And if I didn't, I would be willing to get into anywhere. But it just didn't sound like, I feel like there was other places in Portage, possibly that would be better suited, like even behind the motel on 10th Street. Was it Westgate Hotel or West? Anyway, there's a couple empty lots there. I thought there's a kind of a motel there, a double structure. Maybe there's other areas where you could build a bit of a, that has more than just 2 small city lots to try to cram all that into. So I guess I am objecting to it rezoning to a multifamily. Would prefer it stay a single family. Originally had thought maybe it would be a couple habitat homes when I first saw the announcement, and that was exciting. And this is a little bit, these pictures are nice, but I think first you would have it rezoned to multifamily, and then we would talk about like how many levels, right? Because
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that I can basically say that it's going to be 1 level at this point. So, I mean, what we have funding for will only build this 1 level.
Thank you. Is there?
well, also in that, I guess if there's that many fit into 2 city lots, that many structures, I feel like there's only room for parking. There's no green space.
Go ahead.
Allowable in that little area.
So the drawing is actually only showing 1 lot. So that's what the confusing part is of like this concept drawing. So it's showing 1 lot and the entire building is on that 1 lot, but we want to rezone the lots into 1 so we can center this building onto the lots and then hopefully have green space around there and fit in parking.
So there wouldn't be 4 or 5 of those buildings? No.
Just 1.
Okay.
Just 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in attendance to speak against the application? Do we have any letters to read out? No? Okay, so now it's council has any questions, comments they want to ask or make? Okay. Now, I will need a motion to close the public hearing, please.
And I so resolved that public hearing for bylaw 22-8740, rezoning PC 48-22, Portage la Prairie Community Revitalization Corporation, PCRC, lots 1 and 2, block 1, plan 27884, now be closed.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, second by Councillor Espy. All those in favor? That's carried. The floor is yours, Councillor Nichols.
So just to give council some background on where we're at with this proposal, I'm just going to pull up, bear with me 1 second here. So in cases where properties differ from prevailing patterns of lot size, configuration, orientation, it may not be possible to provide the same site standards and pattern of development in these infill projects. So in this case, the application was advertised in the Daily Graphic for 2 consecutive weeks, circulated to the province, and public notices have been sent to all owners of property within a 100-meter radius of the proposed development as per Section 168 of the Planning Act. First reading of this bylaw was given on August 8th, 2022. To commence a process as defined in the Planning Act in considering this application. As of this writing, we have not received written objections to the proposed rezoning scheme. Documents were circulated to provincial departments and agencies with no objections. Provincial Planning recommend approval of zoning bylaw amendment number 22-8740. So it is of the administration recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the application to rezone the land legally described as lots 1 and 2, block 1, plan 27884, parish of Portage la Prairie, from R1 residential single family zone to R3 residential multiple family zone, and that bylaw number 22-8740 be read a second time.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Espy. Any questions or comments? Councillor Espy?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of comments. While I do appreciate the comments from the person that spoke against this, there are scenarios where I would have concerns about this kind of a project. This isn't one of them. I have absolute confidence in the PCRC's ability to manage this so that everyone comes away with this having benefited, including that neighborhood. So I will be voting in support.
Thank you. Anyone else? I just have a comment. I'm really happy with that presentation you gave, Mary, because those concept drawings make sense from what we heard last time. So I really appreciate you bringing that to the table. All those in favor? And that's carried. Councillor Nichols?
And seeing that, so that I move that bylaw number 22-8740 be read a third time, finally passed, signed, and sealed. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Espy. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to our next public hearing. It's a request for variation PC 61-22, Proctor, 39 Wilkinson Crescent. Councillor, nope. I am going to open the public hearing and ask if we have anyone here to speak in favor of the application. I will ask a second time. Anyone here in favor of the application? Do we have any letters to read out? No. Do we have anyone here to speak against the application? One more time, anyone against? Any letters? Then I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
And I so move that I make a motion resolved that the public hearing for variation PC 61-22, Proctor, 39 Wilkinson Crescent now be closed.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Massey. All those in favor? And that's closed. Councillor Nichols.
So to, I'm just gonna, give me 1 second, sorry. So to give you some background on this, Christopher and Sarah Proctor are applying for a variation order to vary the east side yard requirements of 4.6 meters when there is no attached garage on the dwelling to be reduced to 1.3 meters. Owners would like to convert the existing attached garage into a mudroom. Council has approved similar requests as follows. PC 27-20 east side yard requirement 4.6 was reduced to 1.15. PC 53-17 side yard requirement of 4.6 where there was no garage, carport reduced to 1.5 meters. The building is an R1 single family dwelling zone. The application has been circulated to various city departments with no concerns. Public notices have been sent out to all property owners within a 100-meter radius. So it is the administrative recommendation. I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the variation request of Christopher and Sarah Proctor to vary the east side yard requirement of 4.16 meters when there is no attached garage on the dwelling to be reduced to 1.3 meters at the property known as 39 Wilkinson Crescent, which is legally described as Lot 2, Plan 1127, Parish of Portage la Prairie. So move.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Porter. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We will move into committees now. First up is Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
I don't have a report, Your Worship.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Nichols.
On behalf of Councillor, I'm sorry,
Myers.
Councillor Myers, at this time I do not have anything to report.
Thank you. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Services Committee has nothing to report at this point in the meeting.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. On behalf of Waterworks Committee, I have nothing to report this time. Later on in new business.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. And the Transportation Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. We have no deferred business, so we'll move into new business. First item on new business is the third quarter 2022 financial statements, and that's Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. In your package, you have the third quarter financial statements and projected year-end balances, and the statements are in there. Any questions or thing you want to direct on those statements before I present the resolution?
Any questions, anyone? No? Go ahead.
Seeing none, I'd therefore move that the Council of City of Portage la Prairie approve the 2022 quarter 3 financial statements.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next, we have an appointment of Mayor Knox to the Provincial Municipal Justice Advisory Committee, and that's Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee again. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a little background on this. This is, I believe, an AMM committee that meets to talk about policing issues and with the various cities. And traditionally, the mayors have been members of this group. So it's a good liaison for our city with other cities on policing. So therefore, I would move that Council of City of Portage la Prairie approve the appointment of Mayor Knox to the Provincial Municipal Justice Advisory Committee for a 4-year term effective December 2022, understanding that any associated travel costs would be the responsibility of the city.
Thank you. That's moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And under new business, the financial assistance and design build contract for childcare facility. Under Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The issue is to approve entering into a financial assistance agreement with the province of Manitoba for the build of a new child care facility and authorize JQ Built Inc. to enter a design build contract. The province of Manitoba is providing a capital funding grant to develop new child care facilities in 9 municipalities and First Nation communities in partnership with John Q. Public Inc. / JQ Built Inc. and the City of Portage la Prairie. City administration has been in discussions with the rural municipality of Portage la Prairie about working in partnership with JQ Public Inc. / JQ Built Inc. pilot project, a collaborative, replicable process to support and share community capacity in communities in Manitoba to build this important community infrastructure. The financial assistance agreement has been negotiated with all communities. This requires the City of Portage to provide 2 acres of service land to assume and hold ownership of the facility, commit to operations and maintain the facility and grounds, and provide for 15 years at zero rent lease with licensed and regulated non-profit childcare operator. City Council passed a resolution on October 11th, 2022, approving the provision of 2 acres of land for this facility and approving the terms of a memorandum of understanding with the RM of Portage la Prairie. A resolution is now required to enter the financial assistance agreement with the province of Manitoba. On October 21st, 2022, John Q. Public Inc. authorized JQ Built Inc. to award a public RFP for the design and construction of 9 prefabricated hybrid daycare facilities in communities as identified by the province's Early Learning and Child Care Program. JQ Built Inc. on behalf of John Q. Public Inc. was directed to take the contract process forward with Pretium Projects Limited. To reduce risk and ensure the project remains on time and on budget, JQ Built Inc. has developed a full slate of support services and identified a team of experts to facilitate this process with local governments, which includes the services of a development owner's representative and a quantity supervisor professional. JQ Built Inc. has developed a general service agreement to provide full project and process management services related to the construction of the daycare facility for a development fee structure of 7% of the construction costs. The City of Portage la Prairie intends to enter into a general service agreement with JQ Built Inc. The design build contractor has identified a CCDC 14-2013 and industry standard design build construction contract from Canadian Construction Documents Committee for a predetermined, stipulated or fixed price for each daycare facility. It is the recommendation, and I so move, that the City of Portage la Prairie enter into a financial assistance agreement with the province of Manitoba through its Early Learning and Child Care Program for capital funding for construction of a building to develop 74 child care spaces in a new child care center, with the mayor and city manager authorized to sign said FAA, and that the City of Portage la Prairie will adhere to the Early Learning and Child Care's conflict of interest policy and guidelines for this capital project, and that Council authorized JQ Built Inc. to enter into a CCDC 14-2013 contract with Pretium Projects Limited on behalf of the City of Portage la Prairie and to execute said agreement on the city's behalf.
Moved by Councillor Espy, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any questions or comments? I'll make a comment then. This is an exciting day for Portage la Prairie and actually the whole province of Manitoba. Child care facilities are of a need. Portage was chosen as one because there is such a need here. There's also a great thing with this project is that it is another regional partnership that we're involved with, the RM. We're a region and municipalities that people often look to for how you work together to bring great things for your communities, and this is definitely one of them. If you want to know kind of what this is going to look like, if you've ever visited the little community of Gladstone, Manitoba, the building there is one of these type of projects. So it's a great little facility. So I think it's a good one to look at. So well done for everybody involved in this project. It's exciting for us. So All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to our last order of new business, the award of tender for the supply of chemicals for the water treatment plant, Waterworks Committee. Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. The contract is to supply the water treatment plant chemical for a period of 6 months from December 1st, 2022 to May 31st, 2023. And just to give you a background, it should be issued for each individual chemical. Typically, this contract is for 1 year. However, due to the volatility in commodity prices and price risks associated with the project and costs a year out, it was decided to shorten the contract to 6 months. Bidders are required to guarantee submitted prices until May 31st, 2023. This is good. So I so move that the City of Council of Portage la Prairie award the contract for the supply of treatment chemicals for the water treatment plant for a period of 6 months as specified in Tender 22 OPS 025 to the following companies for the respective chemical product for their submitted tender prices, excluding GST as follows. Chemical number 1, lime, to Greymont Western Lime Incorporated for a tender price of $463,646.59. Chemical number 2, potassium permanganate, to Cleartech Industries for the tender price of $5,382. Chemical number 3, chlorine, to Brentag Canada Incorporated for the tender price of $37,600.64. And chemical number 4, fluoride, to Univar Solutions Canada Limited for the tender price of $20,505. Chemical number 5, polyaluminum chloride, to Clearwater Equipment and Technologies for the tender price of $119,110. Chemical number 6 is phosphoric acid, to Univar Solutions of Canada Limited for the tender price of $25,400. Number 7, dry anionic polymer, to Univar Solutions of Canada for the tender price of $40,425. Chemical number 8, sodium hydroxide, to Brentag Canada Incorporated for the tender price of $190,488.17. And finally, but last but not least, calcium thiosulfate, to Cleartech Industries for the tender price of $17,160. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Nichols, seconded by Councillor Massey. Any questions or comments? I do have a question for administration. I know probably what the answer is going to be, but do you ever see these prices going back down?
That's a great question, Your Worship. I'll go through to Ms. Friesen, through yourself, Your Worship.
So unfortunately, we just continue to see an increase each time we tender this. We have not seen as significant of a jump as we did see the tender we issued 6 months ago. So we do see leveling out, but I don't project us to be ever seeing the prices go down significantly. A lot of the pricing is in transportation, so as fuel prices go down, we might see some, but the actual commodity prices themselves probably will not.
Thank you. What I suspected. So. Any other questions? All those in favor? And that's carried. We have no old business, so I will adjourn council meeting at 6:44 p.m. We will move right into our committee, sorry. Meeting. Our committee meeting called to order at 6:44 p.m. Committee is open to the public, just so everyone is aware. First on the agenda is our Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. That is Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillors, in your package you have a number of fees and charges changes. As you can see, we have a whole raft of them, and there are some recommendations being made by administration. The goal here is for you to have these. This will be presented at the next council meeting, but if you have anything you want to raise now for administration regarding these, But this is your opportunity, but this will be brought forward to the next council meeting for either approval or change or whatever. They're in your package for you to see now.
Any questions from council? I do. To administration, just a couple of questions. I'd just like a little bit more information on why we're choosing to add credit card payments for ratepayers, and also just a little bit more. I do know that our past council was very interested in our vacant and derelict buildings in our community, and just what these fees mean to that.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll speak to the vacant and derelict building fees, and then I'll pass on the question regarding credit card fees to Ms. McFarland, our Director of Corporate Services. So in terms of the vacant and derelict building fees, I think it's important to note in that, and it is referenced in the report, we don't actually have that additional bylaw to justify these fees yet. It is our intention to bring that forward to council for consideration. Those fees cannot be charged until that bylaw is carried by council. The intention of that bylaw is to incentivize property owners who have let their property fall astray, perhaps have their windows boarded up for more than 1 year, to act on the property. So you would see an intention of adding fees that escalate annually, and the goal there is to incentivize owners to either renovate the property or perhaps sell the property so someone else can do that and not impact the property values of the houses around them. Really, unfortunately, how we value property doesn't incentivize people to move. In fact, if you board up your window, you probably will pay less taxes year over year, and there's less of incentive for you to actually renovate your home. So the intention of that bylaw, which we'll bring forward to council, is to incentivize owners to take action on derelict properties. Through your worship, I'll pass the next comment to Ms. McFarland to speak to the credit card fees.
Okay, during COVID, we had a lot of, as you can guess, a lot of interest in paying electronically or paying at a distance. And at that point, we already had internet banking and paying at the door and mailing and that type of thing because we weren't open to the public. And we introduced e-transfers at that time, which has been a very popular item. But we've also been asked to provide more credit card services. So just to clarify, we actually do offer credit card services right now, and we offer it for two purposes: to pay your parking ticket and also to pay a small utility bill. And so we were asked by customers, could we introduce another type of credit card payment which would be more affordable that they could choose? And so it's entirely up to the customer to choose if they want to do that. The percentage that they would pay is 2.50%. So the customer pays that, not the actual city. And just to compare, the provider we had before was charging $5 for every parking ticket that you paid. So it was fairly steep. But not everybody can make it down to City Hall during the day, and so that's another option. Is that sufficient, what you're looking for?
Yep, totally. And I know that parking ticket fee because I've paid it a few times. Excellent. Anything else, Councillor Massey?
Yes, Your Worship, we have one other item that will also come to the next council meeting, and that's the setting of the meeting dates for council for 2023. You have in your package the dates and some commentary there around the AMM convention and when we meet in the summer. So the recommendations from administration, they've listed the dates there. And at the next council meeting, we'll be adopting these dates, but it's your opportunity to flag anything now on these dates for council meetings.
Thank you. Any questions? Great. So we'll move on to City Planning and Economic Development Committee. Councillor Nichols.
On behalf of Councillor
Meyer,
thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. There's nothing to report at this time. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Community Services Committee. Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have a presentation tonight, and it is on the Communities in Bloom program. And I would call upon through yourself to our presenters, Ms. McFarland and the PCRC.
Welcome. Please state your name for the record.
Kathy McFarland. So I should have brought my gardening hat just to say that I'm putting on another hat. And I need to clarify, we actually have 3 members of our committee here, and this is going to be a collaborative presentation. Lorna Knight from PCRC is our administrator, and Cornell Pache is also from PCRC and definitely presents a lot of the Indigenous flavor in our Communities in Bloom program. So I get to start. And during 2022, there was no Manitoba program. The city has participated in the Manitoba program before, and due to COVID, the program had been discontinued. And we wanted to continue on with participating, so we decided to participate in the national program, which has been interesting. It certainly has opened up our city of Portage la Prairie to a wider audience. And for those who, like me, before I moved here, only drove by the city on the bypass and didn't even realize we had a lake or a park, I think it really highlighted for them what we have in our city. And the program nationally is very similar to the Manitoba program. And one of our other committee members will talk about those different, what they're called bloom categories. And you're rated between 1 and 5 blooms. And then we can also participate in specific awards. For our city, we entered for community participation and also for green space, specifically for our tree canopy. So as I said, we have a few people on our committee, and we're always looking for more. So any of you with green thumbs, if you're interested in joining our happy little group, we'd be more than happy to take you in. So as I said, Lorna Knight, and Lorna really was a trooper. She started with PCRC probably about a week before the judges started, or before the judges came. And Rachel Templeton from PCRC helped us out before that. Yvette Cuthbert is also a member of the committee, Cornell and myself. And I guess I'm supposed to be rolling this forward, and I'm not doing that. Okay. One of the requirements nationally, which was different, I had been involved in the Manitoba program before in other communities as well as Portage, is a community profile book. And we've actually brought copies for each of the counselors, and if you'd like, we could get Lorna to hand you one of those. That was truly a lot of work, and we were really glad that Yvette Cuthbert, who is a known artistic person in our community, took that on. And I will say I was proud of our community before, but I was really proud when I saw this, how many things are happening in our city. And just to clarify, Communities in Bloom isn't all just about flowers. There's a lot more. It's certainly about community participation. So we gave you the link, but we also know some of you like to have paper, so we brought that as well. And I'm just about ready to hand off to someone else, but I'm just going to give you an idea about our overall evaluation of the city. So we didn't know what to expect. We'd never participated nationally before. And we had 2 judges that came who had never been to Portage before. One of them had been to Winnipeg before, and the other one had not been even in Manitoba before. So we got a really fresh-eyed look because what was happening in our community. And some of the things they said to us that we're highlighting is we have state-of-the-art outdoor recreational facilities. So when you live here, you take those for granted, but this is what people nationally said about us. We have a rich heritage. We have many designated heritage buildings and historical buildings. We have lots of green space. Well, we're always looking for more, but we have lots of green space. And, certainly COVID took an impact on us, but it's always nice to have lots of volunteers to help out on these. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Lorna.
Thanks so much, Kathy. I am going to speak to the specific criteria that the judges rated and judged during the time that they were here. The criteria in general had some of the positive points, and then it always had a little sort of spot of improvements. Some of these improvements are things we could look at for future project. Other things I think are just general overall community goals that they sort of roll out for each community that they go to. I think they're very sort of standard. The first thing that they talked about was our community appearance. So they enjoyed the tidiness of our city and the cleanliness of our streets. They commended the fact that in our community cleanups, we involved community members, including our youth. And they highlighted our Green Team initiative that does the graffiti removal over the summer months. And they noted our clean sidewalks and everything that was clean about the downtown area and all the different locations that we visited on their tour. In their improvement ideas, they did encourage possibly more community-wide cleanup events with an emphasis on industrial properties, keeping their particular properties clean and tidy, and also to encourage businesses, particularly on our main streets, to perhaps have more green and floral displays to sort of enhance the curb appeal of the downtown core. They also suggested, of course, better use of our waste and recycle bins throughout the city, although they did note that we did have quite a few of them, which was definitely a positive point for us. Under environmental action, although we're not able, with the time constraints that we had, to go to see the Portage and District Recycling Center, we did have a presentation, and they were very impressed by the amount of recycling that was done and the different aspects of the facility and the products that could be recycled. They did get to go through buy the compost and wood chipping, so they were commended the efforts there as well. They noted the plan to upgrade for the water pollution control facility, and they did really enjoy Stride Place as a facility that we had here in the city. They also really enjoyed the schools having the raised vegetable beds. Not only did they like the green initiatives behind that, but they also really enjoyed the fact that that was a really healthy initiative and was really showing something for those younger generations in terms of really, having those core values of healthy eating at a young age. And we were able to go to the bottom of the old dump hill to see what the new plans were for the Junkyard Dogs initiative, and they were quite impressed with the usage of that land again, as well as the type of recreation facility that was going to be planned in that space. For improvement, I had to look this up because I didn't know what riparian zone was, but it is the bank of the Crescent Lake, and they were looking for just, I think, more like rushes and grasses in that area to sort of improve the soil stabilization in that area, as well as to increase the amount of diversity of species and stuff by having those kinds of grasses. And of course, they did really like to encourage homeowners to capture the rainwater in order to increase our environmental sustainability. Tree management was another one of our different categories. They were enthused about our tree planting initiatives that we have in place for new developments, the culling of unhealthy trees. They enjoyed being able to see the trees that were planted on the school grounds as well as on the banks of the lake. The areas for improvement, they were impressed by the number of arborists that we have on our city staff, but we're encouraging to cull some of the dying trees in the Island Park Arboretum. And one of their suggestions was to offer tree pruning workshops to residents so that they were able to have knowledge and be able to do this on their own as well. So that was a good suggestion. Under landscape, they liked the pleasing distribution of our parks and our playgrounds and our green spaces throughout the city, specifically Island Park and Crescent Lake and the Causeway as obviously a point of pride for the community. They appreciated the larger vision of the construction down Saskatchewan Avenue. And they did also note how many outdoor benches we had, and that was something that they really noted as a high point. As well, they enjoyed the variety of our urban art features and the upgrade to the Rotary Duck Pond. They also really enjoyed that as well. And there was some hard work done right beforehand to get that prepped, so that was appreciated. Areas for improvements, of course, they would like more trails. A lot of the information that they gave us cited that, of course, the younger generation is looking for more of this, and so that we should make sure that we involve them in our plans as we go forward with trail systems within the city. And they also suggested varying our heights of our grass so that in areas where it wasn't being used for recreation, we were encouraging, healthier lawns, I guess, in terms of inhibiting weed growth. And the last one that I'm going to speak to is our plant and floral displays. They loved the hanging baskets on the avenue and the floral planter boxes outside of the schools. They did like the curb appeal of the residential properties. We were able to drive down a few of our residential streets, and they really enjoyed that because they thought it really indicated residents' pride in their appearance of their lawns and their gardens. And we were able to visit one resident's backyard, and they thought that was fantastic as well. They enjoyed the roundabout landscaping, and of course the Sunset Palliative Care Memory Garden was also another high point for them. As an area for improvement, they had suggested possibly looking at like backyard tours of different local residents, more colorful flowers in our hanging baskets, and of course the continued use of planters that have water reservoirs in order to increase our water consciousness and that going forward as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Cornell, but before I do, he's going to talk about the heritage conservation. But I would like to note that when the judges did come, that we were able to do quite a lot with them in a short period of time. But it was the very first time that the judges had ever participated in a smudge. They were able to visit the sweat lodge out at Four Winds. And they were also able to have time to learn about some traditional Indigenous plants. And they did note that this was a part of the tour that they had not experienced on any of the other tours of communities. And so I would like to say thank you to Cornell, because he definitely brought that with on our committee to the judges. And I think it was a unique point that the judges really noted. And it was just nice to have a different perspective and bring them something that they weren't seeing in every other community that they were visiting. So Cornell, I'll turn it over to you.
Cornell Pache, Indigenous Community Coordinator, Portage. Yeah, we felt that we had a unique opportunity to really showcase our collaboration with our surrounding First Nations, when talking with them and with Kiskimikwa, with Long Plains, and especially our National Residential School Museum. We had an opportunity to present that on the first day. And over the course of 2 days, the committee told me that it wouldn't be that much work, but it was a lot of work over the course of 2 days. And, we were able to have them do a walkthrough through Kiskimikwa and the residential school. They really felt that was a unique experience in finding out what the residential school had, in completing that story when it came to reconciliation. And also we had an opportunity to showcase our heritage, our Indigenous history, our culture, our school museum, and it was quite the time over the course of 2 days. And they really liked the heritage signage along the Crescent Lake. They really enjoyed the walking tour through Island Park. And the areas for improvement was they wanted to ensure or make contact with Ducks Unlimited and to see what areas that we could discuss further. And also upgrading our heritage buildings when it came to the Kiskimikwa and Fort Laurier Museum, which we're presently negotiating. So we're looking to be a part of that. And the result we received 3 blooms out of 5, and so we were able to I think it was October 21st in Vancouver, the city of Portage la Prairie received a rating of 3 blooms and a special mention for Crescent Lake Causeway project during the 2022 National International Symposium and Award ceremonies in Victoria, British Columbia. And the judges' comments is they were really with the causeway, they felt there was more sustainable infrastructure maintenance, and that it met the needs of the higher flow of traffic, and enhanced greening of the immediate landscape. And the trees along the causeway will become a graceful canopy over the walkway. And the two roundabouts are attractive focal points, was what they sent us. And so on behalf of the community in Bloom committee, we are here to present you, with a plaque that says the City of Portage la Prairie, Manitoba, population 6,000 to 20,000, in recognition of the Crescent Lake Causeway project. For 2023, for next year, we're looking at entering into the Manitoba program. We're going to be staying more regional and in the province, considering that we made our attempts at the national level, and we were up against Bay Roberts, Newfoundland, and Tabor, Alberta, and so Bay Roberts was able to win it out in our population category. And there's interest in the 2024 annual conference. They just need to look at a venue and a site, and as Kathy mentioned, they took a hiatus for the last couple of years when it came to Manitoba, but we're looking at having a better go when it comes to provincial. And they wanted to see more public workshops and tree pruning and other topics of interest that we looked at, so that we could improve our presentation for next year, and more public garden tours. And that's what we have planned, and see where it takes us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Councillor Espy?
Oh, thank you, Worship. That concludes my committee report.
Perfect. I'll just make a comment. Thank you to the Communities in Bloom Committee. I would honestly say that everything on that list that they recommended to us is absolutely doable things in our community. And I look at just simply the junkyard dogs, the Saskatchewan Avenue West completion. Some of those things are already in the works, and I think will put us in great places. Thank you for this award, and that as of now makes it a multi-award winning causeway in Portage la Prairie. So thank you for that. So also into community services, this is the portion of the community that's open to our youth counselor. I met with her today, so I promised I wouldn't put her too badly on the spot, but we did have the opportunity to talk about December 8th, if you wanted to bring that up.
Yes, so as the first event for me being youth counselor, I wanted to do something similar as there's been in the past, where the counselors come to a PCI and the students can meet with counselors and talk to you, and usually there's a pizza lunch kind of thing. However, this year I thought we'd do kind of a baking event where you guys as counselors can bring in baked goods if you wish to, and share them with others. And I'll also be making some to make sure that we have enough. And I booked the multi-purpose room at PCI between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. on December 8th, which is a Thursday. So hopefully you guys will be able to make it and we can have a good event.
Thank you, Paige. I didn't tell them they had to bake yet, so that was good. Thank you very much. Excellent. So Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
I have nothing to report. Thank you, Your Worship, at this time.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
And Your Worship, I have nothing to report for Transportation Committee.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Yes, thank you. Next meeting, we'll be talking about the 2023 emergency plan, and it's attached to your meeting minutes here. It's a 135-page document. It's actually full of a lot of good information in the event of some sort of emergency. It talks about the alerting system, communication, logistics, evacuation, what our role is as a council, and in all different situations. Some of them we've seen here in this area in our lifetime: train derailment, tornado. We've never had a power failure, but I'm sure it can come at some point in time.
Oh, yes, we did.
That was tongue in cheek there. Aircraft crash, pandemic influenza. You know, these are things that we all kind of think maybe not here, won't happen, not in my lifetime. But we've seen a lot of them right in front of us. So it's actually a really good read. And if you have any questions, I will direct you to administration.
Thank you. I can speak to that in 2019, we used a lot of that emergency plan when we had our power outage ice storm. So it's a good one. Thank you. Oh, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. And, you know, as a new councillor and a resident, obviously I remember 2019. I'm very aware of a lot of these plans from my previous work, but I'm just curious, Your Worship, if there was a report done after the 2019 incident that you could share with the new councillors, how the city responded, what went right, what went wrong. It'd be just interesting for me. I was a resident here, but it'd be nice to hear as a new councillor how you as a city felt things went.
Yep, I'll let administration speak after, but I can say there was definitely debriefing meetings that took place and a lot of things that have been put in place since that incident to more prepare our city for future.
And if I may speak quickly, Your Worship, you can, just from reading this, without even reading the last or the emergency plan from that year, you can tell just by reading this that a lot of what happened in 2019 has been changed just going into this one.
Yeah. Mr. Pito?
Yeah, through Your Worship to Councillor Massey, there was a debrief with all parties concerned during the 2019 power outage and ice storm. And that debrief document, I believe we can get to that to you and council if they wish. But just a couple comments. The lessons learned definitely was the power backups for our lift stations throughout the community. So we had we were structured to handle short-term power outages at our lift stations, or perhaps one for multiple days, but all of them all at once was a major challenge that frankly we weren't prepared for, we hadn't anticipated. Since the 2019 storm, council's made several major investments to our lift stations, putting in permanent generators so that we can handle that type of incident a lot more effectively than we did in 2019. And then we've also implemented mobile generators so we can also power several other lift stations during that time. Again, for those people that don't understand, a lift station just keeps everything that you're flushing down the toilet not coming back up through your basement systems. It pumps it to our waste facility. So having no power means we can't pump it, and means that it starts to store in those locations, and if it can't be removed, it comes back to the houses. So there's been a lot of investment in backup power capabilities, and to be honest, I'm sure if you live in Portage, you've noticed you probably had more power outages since that storm because the power network is still fairly fragile and will be for some time. But we have put in a lot of investments to give us more capacity and resiliency for that type of situation. But in summary, I will get those notes to all of council.
Thank you. I would say our saving grace that year was that it wasn't our entire province that had the issue, so we could borrow from other communities for sure. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. We'll adjourn committee at 7:14 p.m. and we're going to move right into our organizational meeting. We'll call it to order. 7:14. So the only item on the agenda is appointment to council committees, and that's Finance, Legislative, and Property. Councillor Massey.
Okay.
And if you wouldn't mind, just for record, reading this one out.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. The issue here is to make annual appointments to council committees, special committees, and ad hoc advisory committees. The City of Portage la Prairie Organizational Procedures Bylaw 819-8688 states that appointments to council committees will be made at the organizational meeting of council each year. With this year being an election year, the appointments of deputy mayor, acting deputy mayor, members of standing committees, special committees, and boards were made at the inaugural meeting on November 1, 2022, and those appointments stand until the next organizational meeting of council. The remainder of the appointments are as follows. Youth Member of Council, Paige McCulloch. Senior Election Official, Diane Van Art. The Ad Hoc Committees, Chamber of Commerce Observer, Councillor Massey. Portage Regional Recreation Authority, James Bolton. Heartland Communities Future, Councillor Nichols. Regional Library Board, Councillor Massey, Lita Maximic, Amy Unger. Portage and District Hospital Foundation, Irvin Ferris, Lynn Bariza, Dale Lyle. Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Committee, Mayor Knox, PCI Principal, West Park School Principal. The RCMP Community Consultative Committee, Mayor Knox, Councillor Doyle, Nathan Pito, City Manager. Animal Hearing Committee, Fire Chief, City Manager, Veterinarian. Fort Lorraine Museum, Councillor Nichols. Heritage Advisory Committee, Councillor Porter, James Kostachuk, Brian Barrett, Greg Roberts, Emma Enns McIver. Parks Committee, Councillor Espy, Melissa Draycott, Paige Fretz, Gord Zacharias, Rachel Templeton. The Portage Urban Indigenous Peoples Coalition, Councillor Meyer, Nathan Pito, Mary Lawrence, Eve O'Leary, Cornell Pache. Public Art Committee, Councillor Meyer, Stephanie Dunn, Roberta Christensen, Mary Lawrence, Cindy McDonald. The recommendation from administration that the Council of City of Portage la Prairie approve the committee appointments as listed in the report as presented, and I move that, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And that's carried. We'll adjourn the organizational meeting at 7:18 p.m. Thank you all for attending this evening.